I'm also a technical writer. I'm also
Omar, the network is a little bit bad. Can you? We can't hear you.
yeah,
Hello, Omar. Hello. Hello, can you hear me now, Omar? The network is bad from your end.
okay. Then I have to move a bit. Let me just.
Well, I think we can hear you now.
Downstairs.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Sorry, I have to move now. Sorry. I have to move somewhere.
Okay. Let's just give Omar 1 more minute. I know we've wasted 20 minutes, but yeah, these things happen, and sometimes they're out of our control, and we just have to make do with what we have. So let's just wait for Omar to position ourselves in a better environment to take this session. Omar, is it better now?
Anyone here?
Yeah, I think I can hear you.
All right, cool. So where do I start from the beginning or
Yeah, you can start from the beginning. You can introduce yourself, and I'll hand over the session to you now.
no problem. Thank you everyone for this. Sorry. So my name is Mary Mboma and I'm a DevOps engineer and also a technical writer. I currently work for a firm Blue Ops as a platform engineer and I it is for where I get to teach people DevOps and also like work projects on the side. I'm actually like really excited to be talking about Kubernetes today because this is my first time even talk about Kubernetes, and I hope like I think this is it, and we have one extra tool in our arsenal to make life easier and better for all of us. Thank you. Okay, so just like jump into the session, or there's something else we're waiting for.
Yeah, you can go straight to it. Omar, can you hear me? I think we lost Omar.
Try getting here.
Man, we lost you for some minutes. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Ah, can you believe I worked on somebody's project yesterday and the thing showing 0 kilobytes? That was supposed to be a complete project.
I can't hear Omar, and I don't know what the problem is. I think our network is bad. Hello, Omar, can you hear me?
It's a wrong file. Ah, if not, I said, they match.
Yes, I
I
can.
put the project on that
Okay,
preliminary page.
you're back now.
David, project is on that preliminary page.
Can you hear me? Oh, I've lost you again. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, not Pastor,
Yeah,
can you?
yeah, hi. Are we going to continue or not?
Yeah, we're going to continue. I'm just waiting for Omar to get the speaker to get internet back up. So I don't know what
Oh,
the issue is, but it seems she's getting it
okay,
all set up.
okay,
Just
okay.
2 minutes.
I-
So
In
sorry
case
for
if
you.
you require to, postpone that, so no problem. We can attend again as well later
Oh,
on.
thank you so. Yeah, thank you so much, Patel. I really appreciate it. Let me see.
So, is it any problem issue you are facing from my end side? Am I audible properly?
Yes, you are. I can hear you. Absolutely, I can hear you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, thank you. She's joining back, so I'm hoping
No
that it
problem.
gets better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
Does you require that we continue on this meeting, or we can disconnect and later on you can arrange it again?
Yeah, she requires we continue, so it's going to get better. I think she has a better internet connection now.
Okay, okay, fine. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Omar, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
It's better now.
Oh, okay. We can continue now.
Okay.
Let me share my screen. I wanted to do before. I apologize. Like, I'm really sorry for this whole thing. Okay, can everybody
Okay.
see my screen?
Yeah, we can. All right. So I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay, no problem. Let me just switch it over to slideshow. Slideshow. All right. Just wait a bit. Coming up. Okay. It's loading up on my end. Okay, it's up now. So can anyone see my screen? Just like last confirmation. Is my screen visible? Okay, I think that's a yes. Okay, so today we're talking about Azure Kubernetes. So Kubernetes in itself is a container orchestration tool. And what does that mean? It means that it's used to manage like multiple containers and then you use Docker to build these containers, okay? Then all the individual like cloud providers, the Azure, the AWS, the Google Cloud, they all have like a managed Kubernetes service. And the one that Azure offers is called AKS, which is Azure Kubernetes Service. So that's what we're talking about today, as we'll see in the slide. Sorry. Go to the next slide. I don't know if it's the down arrow key or the right arrow key. Okay, I think it's the right one. So yeah, I've told myself before, I'm Omar, I'm a development engineer, technical writer, and I love community. Any
Apologies.
community, you find me there. Yes, please.
Okay, we can see your
Okay.
screen now. The next
Oh,
slide.
okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, so down to the outline for today's activities. So I started off talking about containers and Kubernetes. Then I spoke a bit about managed Kubernetes services. Then we'll have a demo and then a short conclusion to like round off everything we've learned. And I'll talk more on these outlines when we get to where they are on the slides. And please, if you have any questions, you can always like interrupt to ask your questions because right now I can't see the chat section. So what is a container? So a container is just think of a container as something you can put like stuff inside. So just you can see it as maybe a bowl where you can put like maybe food or water or anything inside. So most times we have people working together on projects to build like applications, and we most of the times we may not use like the same laptops or the same operating systems to build all these applications. And we always want to avoid that thing whereby maybe it's running on someone's laptop, it's not running on another person's laptop, or maybe to set up on my own laptop is different from way to set up on your own laptop. So maybe I'm using a Mac. Set up on my Mac is different from setting up on your Windows. So to avoid like things like that, people go for using containers. So you put your code with all these dependencies inside a container. So that anyone that has a container on their system, they can run that code. So the popular tool that we use for containerization is called Docker. So you use Docker to create images. When you run those images, they become containers. And then your Docker compose used to like create multiple containers. So maybe you have a front-end app, you have a back-end, then you have your database. Then you have all these as individual images, but you want them to work together. I want to link your front end to your back end, then to your database. Use your Docker Compose to link all the images together and run them as containers. Now, Kubernetes comes in when you want to manage all these containers. Maybe you want to like scale them and perform like self-healing management and other things. So Kubernetes is just that tool that helps you to take care of your containers. And all these things have to be done automatically. That's why we're using all these tools to do them. So next slide. Okay. So what are some of the benefits of using containers in your application development processes? You have simplified deployment, whereby it's easier for you to deploy your code anywhere, maybe on the cloud or wherever you want to deploy it to. It's also fast and reliable, such that setting up or creating a container image is pretty fast. And when you're pulling an image such that maybe you've created, maybe Babatunde created a container image, you put it on Docker Hub. So Docker Hub is just like GitHub, but it's for container and for images, actually, Docker images. So Babatunde has already like pushed the image to Docker Hub, and I'm coming on the project, and I need the code he has written to run on my system. I just run a Docker pull the image, and that process is really fast. It doesn't take time. So it allows for consistency, such that I know that the code was Babatunde pushed to Docker Hub. If I should pull the same image, it's the same thing that will be on my system. So forgive me if I'm using image and code like interchangeably. I feel for this context we can do that. Then another thing is I will simplify deployments twice. It's also flexible such that if I run that image on a Windows machine, I can also run that same image on a Linux machine. run the same thing on a Mac OS without changing, like without doing configuration from the scratch. We also talked about container technologies before. There are other things. I think one other thing we can use for containerization is container D, but people just mostly use Docker. I mean, it's free, it's open source, and there's a lot of documentation around it. So I always advise people to like use the tools that are popular because they have like a lot more community support. And if you need maybe a stuck somewhere, you need help, you can easily get help. Those are some use cases of um, containerization. Maybe if you have a microservices architecture, where so microservices architecture is such that each component of your application can run as a single unit, can run on its own, but then everything is linked together. So you have various containers, stand-alone containers, but you can link them all together to perform whatever function you want. Then maybe you have your hybrid and multi-cloud environment. You can use containers for easy deployment. Also, if you want to set up your dev test environment also, it's best to use containers to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about the managed Kubernetes services. So you can, it's actually like, you can actually like download kubectl. I didn't download Kubernetes now. Yeah, on your local machine, run your commands, do everything by yourself. But the thing about cloud computing or DevOps is such that we're always looking for ways whereby we can automate stuff and automate stuff in a secure way. Because one thing to note is even when you're using Docker to create images, they always tell you to use official images so as to prevent security breaches. Because some people may create maybe a malicious Docker image, then you use it and you're able to like, get it to your system and wreak havoc. So having managed Kubernetes service or using managed Kubernetes service rather tends to put your mind at risk, security at ease rather, security wise. So you know that when you know that okay, maybe AWS is helping me manage my containers, you feel like more at ease because you trust them. They're like the security measures are like really, really high. So the chances of someone getting into your system through maybe your Kubernetes service or an app you deploy using Kubernetes is like really, really low. So these are some of the Kubernetes services. We have your EKS, AKS, and your GKE. So the same way you use your Kubernetes normally is the same way you would use it on all these managed services. The only difference is you would want to push your image to their container registries and then deploy it from the container registries onto the Kubernetes cluster, because for every deployment you make in Kubernetes, you have to like make reference to an existing Docker image. So they work hand in hand. Now, what should you look out for when you're choosing a managed Kubernetes services? You need to look at the integration with your existing infrastructure, how scalable it is, and the cost also. So let's assume your company will be using AWS, so they're using AWS for everything they do. You know that it only makes sense for you to use an AWS managed Kubernetes services. So bring use it and Azure service. There's not wrong, but you just need to make life easier for yourself and your staff. So that's like one way one criteria you can look at when you're choosing which managed Kubernetes service to use. So looking at Kubernetes, also you have your pod, you have your deployment, you have your secret, you have your values, and some other files. So each of these things, they're called kinds. So they're defined like, okay, let's just say what kind of configuration should this file be? So sometimes it can be a pod. So a pod is like the smallest thing that you can deploy on a cluster. You can just see it as maybe a very small image you can deploy in a cluster. It's mostly used for like testing purposes. It's not advisable to use it in production. But the one you use in production is called a deployment. And I think it's a deployment that we'll be using in today's demo. So you can use a pod and deployment like interchangeably, just that pod you can use it in like maybe your testing environment, then your deployment you use it in your production environment. So when you have your secrets are like a file that are used to store cloud secrets, like a database secret or things like that. Then you have your values file. So this one depends on what you are using to manage your Kubernetes. Some people can use Helm charts, some can use kubectl. So I think for the deployment I did yesterday, I used a Helm chart actually to make that deployment. But for what we do today, we use kubectl for that. We just run our kubectl commands normally. And okay, so I think that's it on managed Kubernetes services. So moving on to the demo. So I need to know if people would want to maybe code along. So if you want to code along, I will just drop the link to the repository where you can get like the prepared code already. Maybe at the end of this session, I'll just send it over. So what we'll be doing in this demo would create a Docker image. So I've already like set up an application that I want to use already. So we'll just create a Docker image of that application. We'll create an Azure Container Registry, then we'll deploy the image to the Azure Container Registry. So I'll be making use of the CLI. So that's the command line interface. I'll be making use of that. So before you can make use of CLI, you first need to like log in. I think you also need to download the Azure CLI first, then you log in, then you can run all these commands. Then we'll create an AKS cluster. But I think to create the cluster, I'm not quite sure if I'll use the CLI or the Azure portal, but anyone is fine, like it's totally fine. And then we'll make our deployment. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. And let's get to it. So any questions so far though? Does anyone have anything they would like to ask? Any questions?
Hello, Omar. So,
Okay.
can you hear me? So, I
Yes, I
know
can hear
that
you.
in a Kubernetes architecture, the smallest
Mhm.
thing is a node, then you have a pod, and
Yes.
a pod is comprises of different nodes, right?
Mhm.
And then you mentioned that in a production environment, it's easier to
Mhm.
go with, I know there's deployment service and secrets,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
are you saying that in a production environment, you should use deployments rather than using nodes?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Use
Oh,
deployment.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
Thank you.
so you have your deployment. Your deployment is highlighting the Docker image and your memory allocation. Then your service file, thank you for mentioning that. It's going to highlight your port mapping, all those things. And then your secret is like, okay, database secret, I don't want to be known to the public. So yeah, thank you for that question. Any other question? So I'm sorry, I can't chat. I don't have like access to chat. So if you can just like type out this URL or something, like if you want to
Okay.
code along. And please, if
I'm
you're
going to
using a Mac,
talk. Let's do this
okay.
chat. You can send it to
Sorry.
me on WhatsApp. Can you send it to me on WhatsApp so I can pass it
Oh,
along?
okay. No problem. Yes, and please, if you're using a Mac, you need to have your this thing, your Docker desktop on. So mine is up here. So you need to have a Docker desktop on. Let me get it open. Okay, have it on, and then you need to enable Kubernetes. So you can just go to your settings. Actually, go to your settings, and then you need to enable this Kubernetes like this. It may take some time though, but you just need to enable it. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I prepared this repo when I was like preparing for the demo sessions. I hope it will permit me to look at it while we code along. So this is my README. Let me open it as a preview.
Omar, can you try to make the VS Code more larger so it's easier?
Okay, let me even open it as this thing full screen.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let me open this as a preview. I know I don't open as a preview. I open as a preview. Open as a preview. Okay. Okay, it's open as a preview already. Pardon me. Okay, so this is it. Sorry. So this is it. So if you want to test the app locally, so I just cloned it down to my machine so we can test it locally. So you first need to like be in your virtual environment, then you need to install the requirement. So this is a Python application. I don't know if people are familiar with Python. here. So I use pip3 install. So I just want to install my requirements. I don't think I have them here because I just cloned the repository. So I'm installing my requirements here. So I just want us to test the app locally to see if it works. Okay, I already have the installments. Okay, fine. So Python 3 main.py. So these are we run Python applications. So it shows you that it's the development server, then you do to production and all of that. Okay, good and fine. So I click on that URL and let's see where it takes me to. So this is the application. Please don't laugh. It's not. It just looks normal. Okay, so it's running good and fine. We are on the right track. So let me quickly sign into my portal though. Yes, sorry. Portal.azure.com. Okay, so let's go back to the VS Code. No, not this one. Sorry. I am on the wrong listing page. Let me just sign into my portal real quick. Please don't laugh at my application, please. Okay. Let me bring up my VS Code. Which one is it? Which one are you? Okay, is it up here? All right, no problem. So let me stop it. Control C. I just press Control C to quit. Yes, so that should quit it. Okay, good and fine. So the next thing now is to create the Docker image. So my Docker desktop has been running for a while, so I don't think I need to log in anymore. I can just go ahead to build. Now, the good thing about all these tools are, if they need you to log in, it will tell you to actually log in. So we can just run a Docker build. I don't think this should take a lot of time, but if it does, I have an image ready. So I like tagging my images with my actual Docker Hub username before the image name, because that way it's easier for me to push to my to my Docker Hub. It is like one tiny hack. So let me just call this demo image. I can give it a tag of maybe version 1 in case I want to do a version 2 later or something.
Sorry, Omar.
Okay.
Are
Yes,
you
please.
pushing to Docker or Azure Container Registry?
Oh, okay. So one thing about me is I like having my images on my Docker Hub, because I know at the end of the day, I'll like maybe most likely delete my actual repository and clear out my Docker desktop. But if your app, I would also push to my container registry too. There's a lot of noise. Yeah, so there's a lot of noise from your side. So I'm pushing to my Docker Hub and I'm also pushing to my container registry. So pushing to a container registry is like the most important. It's just a personal thing for me, pushing to my Docker Hub. So you can choose to push, you can choose not to push. It's totally fine. But then one thing that I think is good practice is you tagging this image as a Docker Hub name. I feel it's good to push, because what if you want to do Kubernetes locally on your system, if you're not like using maybe AKS or ECR, Docker Hub, sorry, the Kubernetes would search for that. It will go into Docker Hub to search for search for your image. So for people who want to run this Kubernetes thing on their system, people like me, so another thing is I like doing things manually first to see if it is working before I would now go to the automated parts. So that's why I'm pushing to my Docker Hub. Then I may choose to run my Kubernetes locally. So if you're running your Kubernetes locally, it will go look for, if I'm running Kubernetes locally, it will look for this image inside a Docker Hub repository or account called Umboma. So that's just one of the other reasons why I push to Docker Hub first before I push to my container registry. I hope that answers your question.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I have this image already. I'm not sure, but it's fine. Okay, so while this one is building, we can go ahead to create our container registry in Azure. So remember that everything in Azure has to be put inside a resource group because yes, it has to put inside a resource group. So I can open a new a new terminal. So the Docker build is still, the command is still running there. So I'll just log into my Azure account. I'll create a resource group, then create my ACR. So let's do that. So first thing to do is easy login. So you should open a CLI and open a web page for me to like verify my identity. Yes. Okay. Yes, this is me. Okay, so login successful. All right, good and fine. So let's go back to the terminal. So you may have to wait a bit though, because it will print out like all your resource groups, everything, cloud name, and all the other things. So I come here to create my resource group. So I can name it, let me just name it AKS demo, maybe demo one or something. And I give it a location. Pardon me. Please, you can feel free to ask questions if you understand.
Yeah. So someone in the chat has a question.
Okay,
So
please ask
Samuel,
it.
you can mute
Yes,
yourself
please.
to ask your question.
Okay. Thank you. So
Thank you.
apologies, I joined late. I don't know if you might have addressed this, but
Mm-hmm.
getting started for me with MLOps,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to like work with some things. So using Azure Kubernetes service, do I still need to install maybe the Docker desktop, maybe Minikube and some of all these other Kubernetes tools I use to experiment locally for
Okay.
Kubernetes?
Okay, thank you for that question. So before, okay, I think maybe I said before you join, you can actually like go to your Docker desktop. You need to have Docker desktop because you have first off, you have to Dockerize the image. So enable Kubernetes in your Docker desktop and you don't need Minikube. But if you're on maybe a Linux or a Mac, sorry, or a Windows, you might need Minikube. Does
Okay.
that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay,
I
thank
also don't
you.
need like VirtualBox or anything like that.
No, you don't need it.
I think this Docker is fine. Right.
Yes, Docker is fine. Yeah, you can also install this thing or git bash to run terminal commands. That's fine too.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
you're welcome. Okay, so my resource group has been created. This is the name. Okay, this is the name. And I have a location also. That's good and fine. So now I want to create the ACR. That's the Azure Container Registry. So Azure Container Registry is like Azure's Docker or Azure's Docker Hub. Yes, Azure's Docker Hub. That's a Docker word. But now it is managed by Azure instead of the people that built Docker. I don't know there. So now I need to call the name of my resource group here. I want to know if I can in the space. So I called my resource group AKS demo one. So this is just saying Azure ACR Azure Container Registry creates. So I highlighted my resource group. Now I'm giving the ACR a name. Maybe I can give it AKS demo one ACR, so something like this. Now another thing is if the naming convention is wrong, because there are some times where they'll be like, oh, you can't use capital letters or it has to be alphanumeric letters and numbers. They will tell you. So in case you see like error messages, just like calm down and read it to understand so that you can fix it. Now the SKU is like, I think like maybe a tier or something, but just speak basic. Basic is fine for what we're doing. So if we create that, so let's see if this image has been built. Okay, it has been built already. So I already have this on my Docker hub, but let me still push again. So let me just confirm what I called it in my Docker hub. what did I call it? Oh, okay, I called it something else. Okay, so I can still push. So Docker push. Okay, if I just hold this, but I can choose to change the image to it still be fine. Okay, so I'm pushing it. So I'm pushing the image we created to my Docker Hub. So you can see how, because I've already, like, when I was creating the image, I gave it my Docker Hub username / the image name. It's very easy for me to push. I don't need to start tagging from the beginning or whatever. So you can see they gave me an error. What did they say? They said the registry name must only use lowercase. So I go and I correct all these things. I can see it's the same name though, but it just has to be small letters. So like this. Let's see if it creates. Let's wait. Okay, so while we are waiting, let me explain the configuration files that we have. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So they're telling me the registry name is already in use. I should try something else. Okay. Let's try something else. Let me just call it something extraordinary. Let's see, flying cows or something. 23. Let's see. Okay. I think that would work. It's fine. So you can see how I put like all my Kubernetes configuration inside a folder. There's nothing wrong if you choose to like don't put it in a folder. That's totally fine. But I just like organizing stuff. I like all my things being organized. So I just put them in a folder. So this is my service file. I just named it -service so I can easily identify what the file does. So this is what I was talking about when I said we can have pods, once they say we can have nodes, or we can have some deployments. Well, I'm not using a deployment here, so like, because that's like one of the best practices. I can choose to use a pod, it's really the same thing, but let me use a deployment to like mirror a production environment. So the good thing is you can install some extensions that can help you make your coding easier. So you see here, I have a Kubernetes extension, I have an Azure extension also. So if I want to like get a config, I just type kind. I pick the kind I want and it gets created for me. Let me do an example. Let me just call this random.yml. So I just like kind. Let me just do it for come up. It's not coming up. Okay, fine. But okay, so you see, I press enter and that's come up already. So these are like some small things you can do to get started if you are not sure what to do. So that's just one of it. So we don't need that. So let me just delete it. Okay. So let's go back to the actual file that we need. So you can give, so one thing is your name. So the names you give, your metadata, your labels, they have to be consistent all around because that is what your Kubernetes configuration will use to identify what particular, let's just say what particular deployments you are talking about. So they have to be consistent all around. Then this replica is just like, okay, how many instances of this deployment should be created? Now I can say one, and maybe tomorrow there may be a new requirement that requires me to have 3 instances of this deployment. And I'll just come and change the number to 3 and extra 2 will be spun up for me. So that's like another thing, just makes life easier for you. Now use your templates. This is where like you specify, okay, what are the containers or Docker images I want to build. Now you can have more, there's something called multi-container deployments whereby you have like multiple container sections that you're making under a single deployment. That's fine also. The only thing you just need to do is give them the same name Like this name should be the same, and the labeling should be the same also. Now, I'm using this to say that, okay, use a Linux machine to build my deployment or to create my deployment. You know, most of the time when I'm using all these cloud services, your Docker, your CI/CD, most of it are run on virtual machines, and most of the virtual machines are Linux OSs. So that's just what we are saying here. Now, this is where you specify the container. So the container, so for me, I need to change the name, sorry, because I changed what I was pushing here. Okay, so this is what I gave it. So I'll just correct that shortly. So image, yes, yeah, demo image, and I save my file. Okay, cool. Now you can say how to allocate resources. So how do you want Kubernetes to allocate resources that you use in building your deployment? You can specify that also. Then the last thing is your container ports. So what port do you want your application to run on? So that's what I gave it 5,000. I gave it 5,000 because I mean, when I was building the app, it ran on what's 5,000. So obviously, that's where I want it to run on again. Now I've spoken about the container, the Docker image. Now moving forward, let's talk about networking also. Now the thing is, so now your image would be built, but how can someone on the internet access it? The whole reason why we are doing this whole deployment so that people on the internet, public internet, can access this application. So by using a load balancer, so this load balancer will just like explain how to expose, or rather, it just work on exposing our application to the internet. So load balancer, I know load balancer, but I used to like share work resources or workload on virtual machines like that. So I also have to specify my target port, my actual port. I think a protocol is not compulsory. We have to reference the actual. That's why I said the name has to be has to follow, because that is the thing I'm referencing. So my metadata is the same name. And in this app, so this app is just like, okay, this whole network configuration, what deployment should we apply it to? So I just named it, give me this name. So this demo deployment tool, it will reference this configuration file that I have here, and we are done. So any question about the configuration files?
No, I think it's.
Sorry?
I think it.
You think it's what? Any questions?
Clear.
Okay.
So I don't have any
Oh,
question.
okay. Okay, no questions. All right, no problem. That's fine. Thank you. So now it's time for us to run to run commands. Okay, I think we were building something. Where did we stop? Okay, we just created the ACR. Okay, inside the resource group. So that's fine. Now we have to log in to our container resource that we just created. So if you don't authenticate to your container registry, so like when you do your Docker push, it will think you want to push to Docker Hub instead of, it will push it to Docker Hub instead of this ACR that we built. So where's the name? I think this is the name now. Okay, yeah, this is the name. Flying Cows 23. Yeah, I missed the F there. Okay, so let me log into it. You can always check the portal though to see if it was actually built. So this is how my portal looks like. I'll just go to the source group. I think everyone can practice this. Just make sure you like clean up immediately. Just delete all the resources immediately. Okay. So this is coming up. I have a lot. So yeah, AKS demo 1. Yeah, this is the resource group we created. Okay, so this is our container registry here. So good, 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 good. Okay, so now we're logging into it. And yeah, they said login succeeded. So we're fine. And the next thing to do is to tag that image. So why are we tagging it? So it's easy. So you're tagging it with your HCR, so with your HCR login credentials. So that way when you run your Docker push, it will also know that okay, because this image has this particular tag and they've logged into their HCR account, push the image into the HCR account. So okay, so Docker tags. I think it's like this. Docker tag. So the name we gave our Docker image, we write it. So this will look a little bit weird, but I assure you, it's fine. So this is the image I want to tag. Now, what tag? Sorry. Okay, what tag do I want to give it? So I can always into my HCR. I think there should be some instructions there. Okay. Okay, yep, this is fine. So the login server, that's what I want. This value is what I want. Because if you look at this command, it says your HCR login server. So if I just paste that here, then the name of my Docker image, where is it? I think I tagged mine V1. Sorry, that tag is important. Assuming I didn't know like add a tag at the beginning, I wouldn't need to like tag it at all. Just the default tag of latest. So that's fine. But now I made it V1. So I always have to like put that V1 there all the time. And I press enter. So it's been tagged. So if I run Docker images now, I should see that it has actually been tagged. Okay, so see it here. If I'm pushing, this is the entire thing I'm pushing. V1 with a V1 tag. So I'm pushing this with a V1 tag. Oh, sorry, I didn't write my commands complete. So Docker push. Yes, so you see it says it's referring to this actual repository. So we can look at the portal do to actually see if it will come up. So yeah, this part called repository. Okay, so no results yet. I don't think the command has finished running, but you can always check that out later. So the next thing we want to do is to create the Kubernetes cluster. So like we wouldn't take much time, sorry. Not to waste. Okay. Let me open another terminal. I just like having different terminals running different things. Okay. So we'll come back to this command later. For now, let's get our AKS running. So okay, so now I'll have to go and create my AKS cluster manually. I have to create it manually. I don't think I will come up for the CLI. So I'll just go back to home. here, we want to home and click on Kubernetes services. Okay, I have a lot of. Okay, let us click on create. So Kubernetes cluster.
I'm so sorry. I think it's. I don't know if it's from my end. I
This
think
might
the
take some
screen is
time to not really
frozen.
strong.
Hello, Omar. Can you
Let's
hear me?
still wait. Okay. Mhm. The screen is low. Frozen. Yes, I can hear. Let me stop sharing and let me stop sharing. Yeah, this is I'm sharing from. Can I share again? Sorry. This is my internet. Okay. I share again. Okay, so is it better now? Is it better now? Can you see?
I can hear you, but I can't see your screen. I don't know if it's from my end. Can anyone see Omar's screen? Hello.
Not yet. I think maybe my network.
Okay. I think Omar is just trying to reset our network so it should get back. We can continue.
Can anybody see my screen?
No, we can't see your screen. No, yeah.
Um, we can see. It's
Omar, are you there? Okay, she's trying to share. Omar, are you there? I can't hear you. I think the network is bad. It's not still coming up.
let's see. Okay, can anybody hear me now?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
But I can't see your screen. I don't know if you're sharing something.
Yeah, means I can't say it. I think it's a network.
Okay. Let me share again, bro. That's it. So is it better now? Can you see? Can you hear?
I can hear you, but I can't say anything. I don't know.
You can still see.
Uh, can anyone else see Omar's screen?
And no, I also can't see.
No, I can't see as well. Okay.
Yeah. Let
Oh,
me
I'm not
confirm if
sharing. Sorry.
Oh, you're not sharing.
Yeah, it seems like I'm sharing on my end, but I'm actually not sharing.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, you can see it now.
Okay. Okay. Can you see now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So we stopped at where we're creating a Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So let's manually create. Okay, cool. So pick a resource group. The one we're using is okay, yes, this one, AKS number one. Then standard. Then we give it a cluster name. Let's give it flying cows also. And leave everything as default. So you and create. Okay. Then we create. Okay, so we leave that. It might take a while to get created eventually. Okay. So let's go back to the code. So the next things we'll do, let's see if this has finished push yet. Okay, so we did not push because we did not get a succeeded or a positive feedback. So we'll run the command again. I think because of my network when we went off. Let's see. It's okay. All right. So let's just try and get this created. Please, if at any point you can't see my screen or hear me, please let me know. Okay, so the payment is in progress. That's fine. Let's just make sure this is see how push is happening. Okay. So it's pushing already. Okay, that's fine. So let me just install the CLI. Oh, so I have it before, but it's fine. Okay. So installing the CLI is just a way for you to communicate with your Azure account. So yes, the total architecture, the binary will be downloaded. Okay, that's fine. So it's basically downloading kubectl for me. So you can see we'll run some kubectl commands later. So the thing is, we want to run this kubectl commands, but not on our machine. We want to run it so it can like have effect in the Kubernetes cluster that we are creating. So we'll just like follow all this. We'll still set up our account to point to where. So the same way we set up this container registry to point So that whenever we run Docker push, it will point it to push to the container registry. Same way we're going to do this also to point it to deploy the images to our AKS cluster instead of the local Kubernetes on my laptop or on your laptop. So let that run. Let's see if this is still going on. All right, that's cool. Okay, so this is going on fine. Let's see if the cluster has created. It's in progress. It's in progress. Okay. So sorry this thing is taking time. Okay. So this is taking time. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask though, or maybe clarification or recommendation or something. We're all here to learn. Okay, so the push is still happening. Push is still happening. Okay. This image is heavy. Okay, no problem. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, the problem is happening. Okay. Group has created. Wow. This is serious. Let me refresh my page. So okay, so I'm just refreshing my page. But I think the resource has created. Okay. So okay. Okay, that's fine. Because I think that's deployed already. Oh, it's still in progress. Okay. Just hold them. Okay. I have to wait. I don't know if a second cluster I have. Okay. It's already here. Okay. So sorry it's taking time. Okay, I think we can use some of the clusters I've created before. Let me see. Let me just see. Okay. Also, it's here already. So why is it? No problem. Let's just see if we can use it like that. So let's authenticate to this registry. Sorry, this cluster rather. One thing I do is I just come to the portal and I click on connect. So there are all the commands I need to run to authenticate to this, like connect to. So it's still creating actually. I don't know if it will work. If I try to connect to, well, let's try. If it doesn't work, I'll try another cluster that I have. So let's see. Oh, okay. So we still creating, cannot be connected. So let's try this other one. I don't know if it has something on it already, but let's see. Okay. Okay, so I can connect to this because it's been created already. Okay, I can connect to it. All right, cool. So this is the command I would run. So it's the same thing as this command that was highlighted here, this two. So I'll run it here, my third terminal. Oh, okay. So this is still installing. Okay, it has installed. All right, cool. So I just paste the command here. Then I get the next command. I get the next command. Okay. This is still running. I think you have a good internet connection. These commands shouldn't take this much time to run. Okay, that's one. The next command is to get the credential of my resource group. Okay, that's fine. That's what the images. Okay, so it's pushing. 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Okay, I think it should be done soon. This is getting credentials for us. Oh, okay. You can see all the feedback that it's giving us. So this is my current context right now. So that means any Kubernetes command I run right now, I'll see the effect in this cluster here. So let's see. So I'm using kubectl to manage this actually. To run my commands. Kubectl. Yes, that's good. Let me get the nodes just to like test to see how many nodes are currently present in my cluster. So I have only one, and this is a default. I think no matter what cluster you create, you'll always see this, even if you've not like run any kube command before. Now to save time, there's a way I always like run my configuration files. So I just apply it to the old folder. So I'm applying them. Let's see this. Oh, my bad. I should have checked if my image has finished pushing. Because, like I said before, this image parameter here, oh, sorry. This image parameter here is to look into the connected registry. To look into the registry that is connected to my Kubernetes account and pull this image from there. I don't think it will run because obviously this image has not been pushed to my registry, but we'll just wait a little bit. So here you can see it says the deployment has been created and the service has also been created. So let's wait a bit. So if I'm to check if they are running, I check my commands, sorry, get services. Let me see the services, because this is where I'll get the external IP. So the external IP is the IP that will be assigned to my load balancer, as you can see, to see if my app is running. I remember I'm running my application on port 5000. So it has to be like this. So I have to copy my external IP and my port. So I don't think this will run now because I mean our image has not been pushed to the container registry, but let's still try it out and see the error message that we will get. So let's confirm. Let me open a new browser. And then 5000. Okay, so another way you can get your external IP, let me close this, is to come down here. You can see your Kubernetes resources, you can see your namespaces, your workloads, yes, ingress, and all the other things. So you click on services and ingresses, pardon me. Okay, it's loading up. So you can see the one that we are running now, the demo deployment. All the rest are created by default, actually. This is the demo deployment tool, and it has this external IP with a port. So you can see that it's not even coming up yet. I think I should still be patient. Let me see if this image was pushed. Okay, so the image was pushed. It's still pushing. But this is it actually, like that's all. This is it. So we're successful. So we are not successful. We walked through the steps that are needed to push our Docker images to Azure Kubernetes services. So this is how you deploy applications to Kubernetes. So one thing you can do is most times you can put this whole process in a CI/CD pipeline. So that's a continuous integration and deployment. So a continuous integration part will just be to build the image and save it as a build artifact. And continuous deployment to be to deploy it to AKS. But that is available to use Helm to do that. So it's the same thing, but this time around you'll be using the Azure DevOps interface instead of the Azure portal interface. You still need to create your Azure cluster. You can create it manually, or you can use the CLI to create. So yeah, we can wait for all these to be pushed, or we can just like maybe call it a day or something. But I think we can wait. I mean, it's almost done. So this is what it's supposed to look like. So your external IP will obviously be different, but you must always remember to put the ports, because I mean, when you're running your Docker container, you have to put the port there. When you're running it on your local machine, you put the port there. And your ports can be anything at all, not necessarily 5000. But you just have to specify that in the API. Maybe run on port 3000 or something. So if you want to debug to see if your services are up or down, you can use all these commands here. And then to clean up, you can just run this delete command and everything would be deleted. So I can always describe, but let me get codes first off. Okay. And if you have any questions of anything, please let me know. So you can see it's giving an error. Image pull back off. It's not seeing the image to pull from the registry. And that's because the image has not been pushed completely. Once the image pushes, I think I'll have to delete my deployment and then run it again so we can see it's being created. And thank you so much for staying with me despite all the old inconsistencies and the network issues and all of that. So we're finally done. Let's just wait a little bit, please. Okay, cool. It has run. So I want to list the image or images in my my container registry. What name did I give that? Oh yes, this is it. So to see the name. So the name that comes up, you can also like try to get the tag too. The name that comes up is the name that would be put in our deployment file. So you can see that means we're correct, we're on the right track. Now let me reapply this. Let's see. It's saying unchanged, but let's see if the pods were restarted. So it's not restarting. So I can just delete everything. I think it's delete pod. So I can delete pod this and delete this pod. I think it takes some time. Yes, so I deleted it. Pod. Also delete that service too. Let me also delete the service. That will be kubectl delete delete service. Okay, so we run the commands again. Let's see. Okay. All right, so let me just run my commands again. Okay, so created and unchanged. So let's get the app. Why did it not? Oh, it deleted the service. Oh, don't delete the. Oh, okay. So let me delete that former deployment. Sorry. I don't think I deleted the deployment. I deleted the service instead of the deployment. So you can see it's not even up yet. So let me just delete it and run the commands again. Sorry, delete the deployment. You have to specify what type of service you are deleting, whatever the name of the service. Okay, that's fine. So I run my apply command again. And now you can see the service is unchanged, but this is created. So that's it. So let's run the get deployment again. So it's not ready yet. Let's run the get pods again. So they're not ready yet. So now we can, so after getting the image pool backup command. Oh my God. I forgot something very, very important. I did not add my tag. Remember I said that if so, assuming I did not tag my image at the beginning, I wouldn't need to add a tag now because it's just default to latest. But I added a tag, and if there's a command for you to see the tag of your image or your image's tag, don't the command. So this is it. So this is it here. So if you look at this command here, we got the image name, but now we did not get the tag. So let's just run this command to see the tag. Oh, sorry. To see the tag that our image has in the registry. So what's the name? Flying House 23. And then what's the repository? SCI name, repository. Okay, let me get the repo name. And outputs as a table. Let's see. Continue the view once. So while that is running, let's just delete everything again. So sorry for all these deletions. Can you delete this port? Can you delete this port? ctl delete port. I'm leaving the service because the service configuration is correct. Oh, okay. Design delete deployment. Okay. All right, I get to go. So yeah, so you see the v1 came up. So that means it's like compulsory for me to add the tag v1 in my image. So let's just apply everything again. And yeah, it should work this time. Okay, so new deployment created. And let's see the get deployment. Okay, it's not up yet. Let's see the get ports. Okay, so it's running. So the port is up, but the deployment is not yet up. Why? Yes, I think it's probably starting or something. Okay, so they are both up now. So since they are both up, let's check this out again. I'm gonna just go back here. I hope the port number is.
I think your screen. Okay, it's back on now. I thought your screen went off.
My screen is frozen again.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, it's okay now. Okay. There's an error page showing on my this thing though on my browser. Okay, so it's loading. So let's see if it will come up. But so while that is loading up, you can like check your logs though. Well, everything is up, everything is running. So I think we're good to go. We can still get the logs though, just to be sure. And what is that command to get the logs? Kubectl describe pod. What are we? Where the pod are describing this one? Let's describe it. So we can describe this. Oh, that's load and then the pod name. Okay. So so we can see schedule. It has pulled the image, pulled everything, created and started. Okay, that's good and fine. All our configurations are okay. Let me show us external IP somewhere. External IP should be somewhere in all of these too, but it's fine. You can always run cube, get service cubes.
Yeah. So I was about to say that you can
Sorry?
just get. I'll
Oh,
say.
okay. Okay, yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can do this. So we're on the right track, 52, 154. Did it change? I think it changed though. Hey, let me see you. Hey, it's changed though. So sorry, everybody. So sorry. Oh yeah, because we deleted those things, those pods. That's why sorry. Pardon me, everybody. So you see, yeah, so this is my beautiful website that has been deployed to Azure Kubernetes services. So please, another thing you should notice, please always refresh your your portal, because sometimes some information changes, but if you don't refresh, you won't see that those information change has happened. So yeah, this is it. So any questions?
I mean, I'm excited.
Yes.
The demo went well. So, yeah.
Thank you. So please share the repo with everyone. I can drop links to slide and yep. So this app will be up. I think I'll take it down after this event because I don't have credits. I don't have much credits, yeah. And I have something else running. So any questions? Or does everyone understand? Can we like do this comfortably on our own? Yes,
So I was thinking about
and do
something.
this on their own comfortably after the demo.
Hello.
So I can hear you.
Mama,
Can you
can
hear me?
you- Yeah, I can hear you. So I was thinking about Now you're using more of like the application. But what I know, sometimes you have to use like
What?
microservice. You get what I'm saying? Like microservices and all that. That is like a feature of an application only as a microservice. Yeah. So probably when I run into issues, I'll call you, I'll call you,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. So no problem. I can please share my social media handle with people. So if there are any questions that they have. I think we can call it a day. So thank you everybody for staying until.
yeah. Thank you so much, Omar. Please, can you share your socials if possible?
I can't type in the chat. So MBA underscore OMA on all social media.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining. We'll upload the recording on YouTube so you can go
No
and like
problem.
the video on YouTube.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye everyone.